Okay, I'm a little out of sync today. No intro or outro music because I'm using a completely different program, having some major computer issues. So you just have to bear with me, and hopefully this thing will come out. But thank you for being with me. Say with me, Psalm 118, verse 24, this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Remember Hebrews 3 and verse 13, but exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. Okay, so we're going to be talking about diligence today. I hope that that is a trait that you can say that's that's me. I can do that. I'm a diligent person. Um, Diligence is defined as careful and thorough work or effort. Now, that is that's a pretty descriptive phrase, isn't it? Careful and thorough work. Diligent work, not just, sloppy or last minute effort or that kind of thing. So with that in mind, I want us to think about what the Bible has to say regarding diligence, and it has a lot to say. So let's take a look and get God's word on diligence. I'm going to start off with Proverbs 22 and verse 29. Let me get over there. Proverbs 22:29, where the New King James says, "Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men." The footnote there is, you see a man who is prompt in his business. The King James will use the word diligent there. So that's the idea that's being expressed, a man who excels, who is diligent in his work, and the great success that he will have because of his diligence. Do you remember the old story about the rabbit and the turtle? I think technically it was called the tortoise and the hare, but I'm sure you've heard it. They were involved in a race, and obviously, I mean, the rabbit was just swift and he could just bounce around. He could just run circles around the turtle. Turtle was slow and he just plodded along. And so the rabbit knew, I have got this thing won hands down. With that knowledge, he decided to take advantage of his speed. And so he would run a while and then he would stop and lean up against a tree and take a little nap. And he would see that, oh, it's time to get back in the race when he woke up, and he would run a little more, and then he'd decide to stop and rest for a little while. Meanwhile, while he was running and stopping, the turtle just kept diligently plodding along. And at one point, the rabbit was snoozing and the turtle crawled right past him and across the finish line. The moral of the story is, be diligent, keep on keeping on, and look at the great rewards that come from that. That's a fictional story, but it certainly it has a Bible principle, and so I want us to think about that. Leroy Brownlow he uttered this phrase: "Aspiration points us, but perspiration gets us there." That's kind of catchy, and it's also very much rooted in what the Bible has to say about being diligent. Now, the opposite of diligence would be laziness, King James often uses the word slothful or slothfulness. Over in Proverbs chapter 12 and in verse 27, is just a pitiful statement by the wise man about slothfulness. In the New King James, it reads, "The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is man's precious possession." I think the New Living Translation puts it like this: "Lazy people don't even cook the game they catch, but the diligent make use of everything they find." Isn't that interesting? That we have those who are very, very diligent. Then we have those who are just lazy and slothful. The Bible always commends diligence. It always condemns the slothful, the lazy. Let's take a look at some teaching along these lines about this principle. I'm going to go over, first of all, to Romans chapter 12 and verse 11, where Paul simply says that we're not to be lagging in diligence. He begins this in verse 9, "Let love be without hypocrisy." So there's a way to love, and there's a wrong way to love. "Abhor what is evil, cling to what is good. Be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor, giving preference to one another, not lagging in diligence." And that's kind. And he goes on, "Fervent in spirit, serving the Lord." But look at that phrase, "not lagging in diligence." That's almost an oxymoron, isn't it? If you're diligent, you're working hard. So lagging in diligence means you're not diligent. So we're to understand the concept of this hard work, this putting in all the effort, not being lazy, not being slothful. This principle is expressed in so many ways in the Bible, especially in the New Testament. When Paul was talking to the brethren at Thessalonica, he said there, "Even when we were with you, we commanded you this: if anyone will not work, neither shall he eat. For we hear there are some who walk among you in a disorderly manner, not working at all, but are busybodies. Now those who are such we command and exhort through our Lord Jesus Christ, that they work in quietness and eat their own bread." Now there is a statement of diligence. We told you that Paul says, we told you when we were there that you're to be a diligent worker. And what we're hearing is there are people that not only they're not diligent in their work, they're not working at all. And what that leads to, he says, is you get busy doing the wrong kinds of things, busybodies. And that's another good reason for work. God's had man working ever since he created man, hasn't he? He put him in the garden, told him to tend and keep the garden. Man had a job from the time he was created on this earth, and there's a reason for that. And we're not supposed to just go through the motions in our job. The Bible says that disciples of Jesus will be diligent in their work. And what employer wouldn't want a Christian as an employee if he's truly following Jesus and being a diligent worker? We're going to be the best kinds of workers. Over in Proverbs 27 and verse 23, here's another diligence statement where the wise man says, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herd, for riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations." Be diligent. I might just bring that word up for you, to know, to ascertain by seeing, used in a great variety of senses, figuratively, literally, euphemistically, and inferentially. Observation, care, recognition, instruction, designation. So, this is a word that means work. Diligence means we're going to have to work. We're not going to be able to just muddle through. We're not going to be able to put it on cruise control. We're not going to be able to coast. So diligence means work, and the Bible commends this work of diligence. I might also look over at Proverbs chapter 10 and in verse 4, where the wise man again says, he who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Now, does that mean that everyone who works hard is going to be filthy rich? Obviously not. This is a general truth. And the truth is that we are to remain diligent if we expect to do well. It is a general truth that the one who is slothful and lazy will become poor. He will not have the advantage of acquiring wealth or anything else because he is lazy. And it's interesting, when the Bible tells us to go and have a look at a successful program of diligence, it doesn't always tell us to look even to a man. Isn't that interesting? Over in Proverbs 6 and beginning in verse 6, the wise man says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard." Now, isn't that interesting? He doesn't say go to King David or go to Samson, no, he says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard, you lazy, slothful person." The word sluggard there means slothful, lazy, sluggish. And the one who is that way, the wise man encourages him to go take a look at the ant, consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? Isn't that interesting that the wise man, the one that God endowed with wisdom, he uses a little tiny ant. And even the ant knows, hey, I've got to make hay while the sun shines. While there's time for me to store food, I've got to do that because the time's coming when I can't. That's the way God made the ant. And so for the one made in God's image that thinks, well, I can just coast along, he says, don't look at another made in God's image. You don't have to look any further than that little tiny ant, one of the smallest creatures on the earth. And just think about that ant and what that ant can teach the crowning jewel of God's creation, mankind. Well, this is just a little sample. I hope it'll whet your appetite and that you'll get looking at all that the Bible has to say about being diligent. Have things that you want to say about today's program. It's a little unorthodox. It's not like the usual one and all of that, but we'd like to hear from you. Leave your comments right there on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching. Use Facebook Messenger. Send an email. Email address is firstthought@gmail.com. Already been taking some in. Thank you, Lovain. Thank you, Sherilyn. You've already taken advantage of the new email address, and appreciate you using that. And write us an email, and we'll be glad to talk that way. Use your smartphone's camera app and scan this QR code to go to the website, or just put stoneridgechurchofchrist.com in your web browser, and go there and take advantage of all the helps that we have there. We also want to invite you to come and be with us at every opportunity that you have. We are the Stone Ridge Church of Christ, located at 514 Airport Road in Jonesboro. We have Bible classes Sunday morning at 10 a.m. We worship at 11 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. We have Bible classes again on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And anytime there are Bible classes, there's a Bible class for you, because there are classes for all ages. And so we hope that you'll come and be a part of those. You're always welcome. You're always our honored guest. So, as I said, things a little different this time. I don't have any fancy music to come in or come out. So, until next time, I hope that you have a great day, and that whatever you do, as the preacher said in Ecclesiastes 9, verse 10, do it with your might, because there's no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where we're going. The time to be diligent is right now. Thank you.